Hi. Imagine it's 1941 or so, and you're in the business of selling vodka. People weren't drinking it. Rum was really popular. Whiskey was real popular. All kinds of whiskeys. The whole American whiskey industry had not really taken off yet. So it was tough to sell vodka. And there was a guy named John Martin, and it was his job was to sell and market vodka for a company called Smirnoff, which became Smirnoff's later on. And they were the largest alcohol, or one of the largest alcohol distributors in the U.S. So he was, as legend has it, was visiting a friend and bar owner named Jack Morgan, I believe his name was. There's different stories. Unfortunately, conflicting information, hard to believe, but the internet does have some conflicting information out there. Or wherever it was, may have been California, may have been New York. This guy owned a bar, and he also had invested in a whole bunch of ginger beer. And reportedly, he had a girlfriend who had inherited or somehow ended up with a big warehouse, apparently, as a legend has it, full of copper mugs. So they got together and tried to talk about what they might do with it, and they all had the same problem. They had stuff they couldn't sell, really. So they decided to put them all together. So they put some ginger beer and vodka together in a copper mug and essentially created what we know today as a Moscow Mule. And as I said, there's another story about some different characters. John Martin is always mentioned, but some other people did the same thing in New York, maybe, and they had different names. So I like this story better. So this is the one I'm going to go with. So he also, Mr. Martin, came up with a pretty interesting marketing strategy. He would travel around with a Polaroid camera, which was fairly new at the time. Go into a bar with his vodka and copper mugs and ginger beer and mix what we call a Moscow Mule for the bartender. Take a Polaroid picture of the bartender drinking it and try to sell them on buying those things. And then he would go down the street to another bar and talk to the second bar owner and show him Polaroid pictures of the first bartender and say, yeah, this guy down the street is he's probably going to buy some of this stuff. It looks like it's pretty popular, so you don't want to miss out. So hence he created this whole campaign, and over time it became popular. And today, of course, we all drink it. We find it everywhere. And one of the things that's happened is it has spawned a lot of imitators, if you will. So now we have all kinds of mules. By the way, that really came from the original cocktail in the US, which I think was called a horse's neck. So somehow this was an extension of that, and it became a mule instead of a horse. But that's a story for another time. So they developed this drink. It got so popular that other variations popped up. And as we know now, we can make mules with vodka. Some people like them with gin. Tonight, I'm actually drinking a mule that's an Irish Mule. Bet you can't guess what that is. Obviously, it's the mule recipe, which is ginger beer, some lime, and in this case, some Irish whiskey. You can use any Irish whiskey. Um, Various Irish whiskey makers have the recipes on their website. You really should put some fresh mint in it, but I just didn't have any tonight, unfortunately. It's a wonderful drink. First one I've had. I've had what they call Kentucky mules, which would be bourbon with the ginger beer, etc. And there's probably some others I've had that I don't remember. I don't wonder if they make it with tequila. To check that out. And of course, I was trying to figure out what to pair it with for a cigar. This drink has a very citrusy taste, a little spicy, very refreshing. It's a great summer drink. I thought about this today because I was sitting out on the deck and it was 85 degrees, and I thought, what a great day for a mule. Took me a while to get around to it, but it's a very refreshing drink. It has a little bit of spicy component, obviously, from the ginger beer. And in this case, I've got half a lime in there, so it's also got the citrus. So citrus, a little bit of ginger spice, and ideally some mint makes for a nice, refreshing drink. So pairing a cigar with that becomes a challenge a little bit because you don't want a super heavy cigar, real bold, strong cigar. You want something in medium category, not real mild necessarily, but again in medium. So I chose an offering from AVO, and I think it's the top of their line. It's called the XO series. It's the same company that makes Davidoff cigars. This is tobacco that's been aged at least 6 years. It's an overused word, but I don't have another one. It's very smooth, but there's a lot to it. Yeah, it is. Very easy to smoke. Right in the middle of the strength, if you will. The flavor is also in the middle. Not only is the nicotine component, but the flavor as well. It's a beautifully made cigar. It's very pretty. I've been looking at this in my humidor for a while, waiting for the right occasion to give it a try, and so far I'm impressed. It's a sun-grown Ecuadorian wrapper on the outside. I get what they call creamy, and just a hint of spice, which I think ought to work okay with the Irish Mule here. Let's find out. That's a good drink. Oh yeah. So somehow, after you take a little of this drink, and then you hit this cigar, the cigar gets, it enhances the spicy or ginger component in this drink. Interesting. Didn't see that coming. I like it though. Very, very cool. I could see myself smoking this cigar on a hot day with this drink and enjoying it very much. Now, to be honest with you, whether you make the drink with bourbon, or rye, or Irish whiskey, I don't know that it makes that much difference depending on how much you put in. This one we measured out, so it's made according to the recipe, which I will put on the screen here for you in a second. So the alcohol flavor is not up front. It's buried in there behind the ginger and the lime in this case. You can adjust it to your own taste. I don't think it matters a lot what Irish whiskey you use, unless you're going to put a double in there, and then it would matter. I use the Bushmills Prohibition. Some of you might have seen me talk about it last week because I had it here and it was opened and I could reach it. It wasn't on the top shelf. So very good combination. I would say any medium body cigar that's got a little bit of spice is going to work well with this. And I think that's true whether it's an Irish Mule, a Moscow Mule. I guess the tequila one would be a Mexican Mule. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. But any of those things would work. So with a medium cigar. So give it a try. Seem like I'm focusing on Irish whiskey-based drinks now. Well, it's on the run-up to St. Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day. So I don't really think I'm going to be drinking any green beer. So I thought I would try some things that were in season. And I happen to think of this one. Tomorrow morning I'm going to do another coffee and cigar pairing. Probably won't be Irish coffee. It'll just be coffee. We'll see how that goes. But Irish Mule, AVO XO Cigar, give it a try. you'll enjoy it.